Hey everyone, I'm Chris from HyprMX, and we're here at Pocket Gamer Connects London 2023 with Dave from SquareTwo. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Dave, maybe you can start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you guys are up to at SquareTwo.
Sure. So I've been in the entrepreneurial world for about 20 years in a variety of roles, from online marketing to digital marketing at an agency. We had some fun success back in, I'd say, mid-2000 with bringing, I think, one of the first social casino games to the mobile gaming world that eventually Big Fish Games bought us for. And so pretty early on, been kind of in the mobile game space. And so about 7 years ago, started SquareTwo, taking a lot of the same concepts that I had learned about throughout the various companies I was with, and wanted to bring a bit of a twist to casual games. And so we launched in, I guess, 2016-ish, and been on a fun journey since.
Cool. I know we've worked together for several years with some of your first party developed apps. I know that you guys have done a little bit of a shift over the past couple of years. Can you talk about the pivot in the company, what you guys are up to?
Yeah, sure. So we did start out with a bit of a proof of concept game that actually took off pretty surprisingly. And we did spend several years kind of building out our own ecosystem of games. But what we found ourselves really to be experts at was the technology and the operations and just the economic tuning that is necessary in these games to offer a real rewards component, which is obviously the core sort of value proposition that SquareTwo brings to the gaming world. Initially mobile, but there's really no reason to extend it beyond that. But yeah, the last 2 years has been really focused on refining the technology, making it as extensible as possible, cross-platform, Unity, web, whatever. And the economics, that's a big thing. I think our subject matter expertise in tuning an economy to reward players sufficiently to get the engagement, but not kill the business, right? I mean, you can give out whatever you want,
right,
but it's got to make economic sense. And that's been a very interesting journey for us to test the elasticity between user engagement and kind of good margins for a game.
Right. And as far as like real world rewards, can you give me an example of, what that looks like?
Sure. Our platform, one of the things that we're really proud of is that our platform has the ability to catalog virtually any item that can be found online. So if there's an online destination, currently it's Amazon, tends to have a lot of stuff. So we are integrated with Amazon, Walmart.com, Shopify. We're working on an Etsy integration. And what our platform does is that it catalogs all of these items, pulls the metadata, and presents it to an end user within the app. And when a game has enough currency built up, currently we use tickets, which is a very commonly used kind of currency in arcades and places where gamers or even arcade gamers like to play the game and do really well and earn these tickets. So we've enabled a system where we do a whole full service, full circle fulfillment. And so a player gets enough tickets, they find something that they like, they redeem it, and we handle all of that, all the logistics, all the customer service, and all that stuff for the game.
So essentially, it's like a traditional rewarded placement in a game scenario, but you're kind of like throwing it back to like old school, kind of like Chuck E. Cheese.
Absolutely, Dave and Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese, that sort of thing. And we're bringing that essentially to the mobile game experience.
Awesome.
Currently, yeah.
Awesome. And are you guys focused solely on mobile gaming, as a category, or are you thinking to kind of like take this service, to other genres as well?
Yeah, it totally makes sense that any sort of consumer-facing app that has any sort of gamification, any sort of loyalty program that they're either consciously or subconsciously kind of giving their players or their users, for that matter, any one of those systems can be used to can basically be layered upon the rewards platform that we've built. You see it across various industries like credit cards, airlines, hotels. They all have a loyalty program. So there's no reason why any sort of non-gaming app one of them comes to mind is like Strava, for instance. Like I have friends and family who are just like, oh my gosh, I'm going up the leaderboards, I'm getting all these points, but that's it. It's kind of like bragging rights, which is not, bad in and of itself. But if these sort of these services can provide even an extra layer of loyalty generating rewards, we don't see why that can't be extended beyond gaming. And when you get into that sort of world, it can extend well beyond mobile. It doesn't have to be mobile at all.
Right. Yeah. And like the Strava example is like perfect because like I'm a big runner, and that is like I'm climbing the leaderboard, but at some point it's like to what end, right?
Yeah, I was like, I can only crush my friends only so much and feel good about it, right?
Exactly.
So,
so if I can get something like material out of that at the end of the day, it encourages me to kind of do that even more.
Yeah, and what's really great is that when we start extending into certain verticals, let's say fitness, our catalog being extensible across various retailers we can actually curate a featured catalog that is just fitness stuff. If we know that you're a runner, we can put running equipment, we can put shoes, apparel, all that stuff can be curated for that actual industry. So it's a very widespread but very powerful sort of marketing engine for various consumer apps.
Right. And so in the past couple of years, there's been a lot of talk around, Web3 and use of blockchain, like especially around like loyalty apps. Like I know, there was an announcement recently, like Starbucks is going to start using, blockchain technology for their rewards program. Is that something that you guys have thought about? How does that kind of work within your platform?
Sure. It's interesting. I have I'm probably not in the minority per se, but I have this view that blockchain should be a tool for something like rewards versus being the sole part of the reward. I think that's initially when you hear about like the Axie Infinity stories and how all of this stuff took off, it was more like that was the core of the rewards, whereas we're looking at it from the opposite direction, where we want to maintain our whole mission statement of real rewards, but really kind of give a thought of how can blockchain be a helpful and powerful tool to enable that.
Right.
And so one of the things that we wanted to explore is adding the real reward component to NFTs. So right now, most NFTs are purely virtual, and the value extracted from it is marketplace driven. And oh my gosh, this virtual item is so hard to find. I will pay X amount for that, whether it's fiat or within a certain token. That's about as real as it gets currently. For us, we're thinking, well, how can we make the virtual side of NFTs translate to the real reward side? And so we actually are excited to launch, hopefully soon. We're still waiting for our blockchain partner to sort of tighten up their API to allow us to do it. But we're bringing this sort of scavenger hunt game to our platform, where it's almost like the McDonald's Monopoly game. And so you can imagine you've got NFTs that you're collecting for a home theater, but this piece is like a game piece for a TV, a game piece for speakers. Right. And then once you collect them all, then we will fulfill the whole home theater set. So these NFT pieces translate directly to a real reward. And we've even built out a marketplace. If, oh my gosh, I have all these pieces for this one collection, I want that one piece. Right. I will pay X amount of tickets for it. And so in that instance, blockchain is very helpful because it provides a secure, publicly accessible ledger of these transactions, of how many pieces are out there. It's transferred from one player to another. It's legit, like it's happening. It's not like the controversies around the McDonald's Monopoly game where security folks were stealing pieces from the printer, right? I mean, we're getting around that by using blockchain. And so that's where we see some excitement around the Web3 side of rewards and how can it align with our mission.
Right. I mean, that's a really interesting concept of how you guys are like applying blockchain, to your business, because as an end consumer, what I find sometimes like, the developers are leading with the technology. Yes. And it's like, I don't really care about what the underlying technology is. Yep. I just want to play a fun game and be able to like trade these pieces with my friends.
Absolutely. I think for us, we almost want to create the user experience where they're like, oh, this is fun, this is familiar, it's a scavenger hunt, I'm collecting these pieces. And then later be like, hey, oh yeah, it's secure, it's on the blockchain. And it's like, oh, that's an added benefit. They have a custodial wallet that they eventually can take control over and start even expanding more beyond our own sort of ecosystem of NFT gameplay. And so that's where we also see the power of our model being truly interoperable across games. There is all this talk about interoperability. Can it happen? Can it not? Why would I want a piece from this game and have it in another game when it doesn't do anything for me? For us, the real reward layer actually creates a universality around what this piece value is. I want this vacation package. I want this home theater. It doesn't matter which game I'm playing on. It's almost like how McDonald's extended their promotion to, I think it was Albertsons or some grocery chain where you could collect game pieces from there too, but it all tied to the same reward that was actually tangible and meaningful to the user.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for coming and sharing about what's going on at SquareTwo today. All the best with what you guys are up to.
Yeah, we're very excited. There's a lot of stuff happening and we want to be part of that journey. So thanks for having us.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.